Hey guys, my dog is right up there. Hey, let me know when you join. There we go. Hey Tamira, hey Fet Wrights, how are you? Good to see you. I think that's Fet. Is that Fet? Let me know. Where are you guys tuning in from? I'm really just interested to know. Hey Chris, thanks for joining today. Hi, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Today I want to talk about author platform. There is a lot going on today. Oh, Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived in Charlotte for a very short amount of time, but I loved it. Thank you for the hearts. There is a lot going on today, and I have got 2 interviews, plus I have to train for a class in about an hour, but I certainly wanted to pop on. I've been on this whole branding kick for authors. Hey Wilson, thanks for joining. If you guys could take a minute to share the broadcast, that would be great. Thank you for all the hearts. I absolutely love it. Okabuya, is that how you say that? I hate to mess up people's names. Thank you, Fet, for inviting people. Hey, Raj Love, how are you? So I've been on this whole branding kick for, oh, good. I got it right. Thank you. And so I'm always like just amazed at how long writers or authors will wait before they start really working on their book, and not just writing the book, but also the publishing part of it. And one thing that my company works with a lot is helping people create platforms, specifically authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and experts create their platforms so that when they're ready to do an event, or when they're ready to launch their book or release a product or introduce a new service, that they already have this really established platform of engaged tribe members to sell it to. And so authors, like I said, a lot of us are just really creative, and so we want to write the book and we don't think about anything else, and we're just into writing the book. But unfortunately we do ourselves a disservice, because the best book, hello Chanel Rowe, how are you? The best book in the world, who cares if nobody knows that it's there, right? So we have to be very cognizant of making sure that we are marketing the book, and that we're building our platform, that we're doing all of those things that we need to do in order for the book to be successful and make an impact on the people that it's supposed to reach. Because that, I think, ultimately is why we all write the books, because we want to impact lives in one way or the other. And so I put a little list of 7 things that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, that I think that if you're looking to build a platform, is, like I said, an author. This is specifically more about authors than anybody, but if you're a speaker, this works. Entrepreneur, this works. If you're an expert, this works. All of that works. So the first thing is you really need to work on putting together a bio. Oh, good. Chanel, are you an author? Who all on here are authors, or you're soon to be authors, or you're in the process of writing your book? I'm just interested to know. So you really should be able to tell people, especially if you're writing about your expertise, you should be able to succinctly tell people, who you are and why you are the expert, and why, you should be writing this book. So you're really putting together your credibility. Oh, congratulations. What kind of book are you writing? I'm nosy. Hey, Amy, thanks for joining. Thanks for all the hearts, and thanks for all the shares. I really appreciate it. And so when you pitch your book, you'll have a lot of the information together in this bio that, the media will need, sometimes bloggers will need. It's just really information about your book, and sometimes readers will look for it too. You also have to have an author website. Now, if you already have a website, this could be something that you attach to your website. You build another page, but you really should have a hub for your books. You need a place that you're going to connect with audiences outside of social media. I talk about social media all the time. Social media is great, but we do not own social media. And so if anybody remembers, oh, okay, that sounds awesome. If anybody is familiar with like MySpace and some of these other websites that have, social media platforms that have kind of gone by the way, that can happen with any of them. And so you really need to work on building a hub for you and your readers to connect, that you have ultimate control over. If you want to set up a blog-based site, you can go to wordpress.org. It's easy to set up, easy to maintain. But that you need to be able to control the real estate with your own domain and hosting. So you got to be very careful about that. You want to blog. I talked a lot about this yesterday. You absolutely want to blog. Here comes my doggy. You want to blog because that is the best way to increase your Google rankings and your SEO. And it's a great way to talk about your book. It's a great way to talk about your expertise. And even if you're a fiction writer, I mean, it's a great way sometimes for you to share your journey in writing this book. A lot of people that are readers, you know, they really want to connect with the authors on another level. And so they do that by reading your blogs and reading other information. Thank you for all the hearts. I get to see all the hearts go up there. Thank you. And then you also want to create your list. So, you know, if you're in the coaching business, 9 times out of 10, you've heard that the money is in the list, and that's really true. Because the list, like your website, is something that you can control, you can nurture, you can give information to these super fans that have said, we love you so much, we want to be on your list. And so you really should create like a sign-up list. For first-time authors, I always suggest giving away a chapter free in order, you know, for people to start, you know, learning about you and figuring out if they really want to be connected to you. And that's a way, you know, you say I have a free chapter, download it before you can buy it, you know, and in exchange it give you their email address and their name, and then you can nurture them by sending them more value, maybe an interview that you did or another blog that you wrote. And then eventually when your book is out, you can let them know that they can purchase the book. So you definitely want to do that. Some of the best services, I think, especially if you're just starting out, is MailChimp. Aweber is good. Constant Contact is good. There's some top level ones too, but I suggest if you're just now starting to build your list that you start with MailChimp, absolutely. Make sure that you're following other blogs and following other authors, and you're kind of staying up to date with the latest information, not just in the writing industry, but in whatever expertise that you're in. So that you can make sure that you are able to, thank you for the hearts, and thank you guys for sharing. You guys are awesome. And you want to leave comments around your expertise or around your book that are not spamish, but really start to establish your credibility and establish your platform outside of the tribe that's already familiar with you. If you are an expert and you're writing about your expertise, then you definitely want to join professional associations so that you can start to network with the people that you are going to want to connect with directly. If you're a fiction writer, this could be the same thing, but just like joining book clubs and joining online book clubs. I'm involved in book clubs, and it's not really about, you know, pushing your book, but it's about getting connected to the readers. And there's kind of an organic relationship that forms once people find out that you're a writer and you have books coming out. But you always, it's a real, I think especially for fiction writers, it's a real community. It's like a whole different vibe that you really need to be involved with. So definitely get connected on that level. And if this is a book about your expertise, and even if this even works for fiction, because I write both. I write fiction and I write nonfiction. And so for my fiction books, I always figure, you know, I find that there's always like a theme. So a lot of my themes have to do around with forgiveness and hope, transformation, and even some romance. And so those are like real life themes that you can actually train around. And so I've created programs based on my fiction books as well, just like I have programs based on my nonfiction books. So if you are an expert in some sense, if you've written a financial book or a relationship book or, you know, some life centered book, then you really want to start developing programs. You want to start doing workshops. You want to start really establishing your credibility. And the great thing about doing that is that most people who write books are not going to get rich off that book. They're not going to, make a ton of money. Some do, but most don't. And so for those people, you definitely want to try to figure out different streams of income. So that's when the speaking comes in. That's when the creating the programs comes in. That's when, doing consulting work comes in, and really leveraging that book for more media opportunities, for more speaking engagements, for doing all of those things that really could add up to a substantial amount of revenue. So those are just some tips. Those are like some 7, like I said, tips that you can start to use to build your platform. Absolutely include social media, but just don't rely on it. One thing that I talked about yesterday in a different scope was the fact that social media is not really great for selling. Social media is great for building the relationships with the people who are eventually going to buy your book. So if you're on social media and all you see is buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, chances are people are not going to connect with you at all, and they're they're certainly not going to buy your book. So social media really is great for building those relationships with the people that you eventually want to buy your book. So those are just some tips. Make sure you have an author website. Make sure you have a blog. You definitely want to build your bio. You want to create an email list, a sign-up list. Usually just giving away a chapter for free is a great way. I love doing challenges. I love doing different things. Like sometimes in my fiction work, if I'm doing a short story, sometimes I will have, the winner of the contest, I will name a character after them or something. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate it. Follow other blogs. Make sure that the focus is just not always on you and your book, but that you're supporting other people and you're a part of the conversation. Outside of the time you're trying to sell your book, that's really important. Join professional organizations. Also look at different writing associations. Look at book clubs, that sort of thing. Oh, good, Ralph, write your book. I love it. And then you want to make sure that you've established your expert. You want to establish your expert status. So making sure that you're training around your expertise, even if it's fiction. You can teach some, fiction writing courses or character development courses. If you're, financial or relationship or one of those kind of experts, you can do courses and trainings and all sorts of stuff. But you really want to work. I scared some people yesterday because I said that ideally you want to start working on your platform like 3 months before you release or do anything. And they got nervous, and they should, because a lot of people haven't started to do that. Ideally, people start looking at it in a couple months, and that really is not enough time to do all the work that you need to do. 6 months is better, but like I said, really thinking about this ahead of time works well. And this is great. And like I said, not just for authors. This is great for speakers. This is great for entrepreneurs. This is great for experts. This is great for coaches. This is great for people who really just need their audience. Or need a audience in order to invest in them. I've stopped. Somebody told me, I learned this yesterday. Somebody was like, we have to stop saying selling, because we're not really selling anything. We're offering people an opportunity to invest in what we have. And I like the way that sounds much better. It just makes you kind of sit up straighter, and it just changes the whole energy, because a lot of times we're so focused on the sale, we forget about all the value that we have to offer, and that we really don't stand in the power of that value. We kind of stand in the power of the sale. And it's two totally different things. And so I just love that. So you're not selling your book. You're offering people an opportunity to invest in themselves by purchasing the book. I love it. All right. So did I tell you? I put it in the comments, but I'm giving you a free branding sheet for your book. It's kind of like a one-page business plan for your book. And so it really works well for you to kind of narrow down the information and narrow down the focus and really get things on track. And so you can get that at, let me get the address. You can get that at bit.ly/branding one sheet. And I put the link in the, hey, Black Writer Space, how are you? I love you guys. You can actually, you can get that free branding sheet. It's bit.ly/branding one sheet. And I put the link in the comments. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you for inviting followers. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. I really do appreciate that. If you get a chance, join me later. I'm doing a couple of interviews on Facebook that I'm really excited about. One, I'm not sure if you all have heard of the Be Live platform, but it's a platform for Facebook where you can do interviews with people. So you can invite a guest and you can come on, and using that platform, you can interview people. And one of my interviews won Best of Be Live. And so I'm being interviewed about that, but then later than that, I'm interviewing somebody, Pooh Nash, who used to be on TLC, She's in Charge, and I'm really excited about the conversation. So you guys can join me on Facebook later. But hopefully these tips have been helpful. Get your branding sheet. I think it'll be a great tool for you. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.